Now, Chinese net users are quick to let their opinions be known on issues that matter to them. So as usual, we start off the show with 5 top trending online comments that we've selected from just a few of China's most popular web portals. But first, before we go into that, a quick explanation about the 2 political meetings that are taking place in Beijing at the moment. These are the National People's Congress, China's parliament, and the CPPCC, the top sort of advisory body or think tank. It's actually wrapped up its plenary session. The National People's Congress, which will be ratifying laws or has been ratifying laws and looking at policy for the foreseeable future, as well as electing new top-level officials, also wrapping up shortly. But many of the comments and stories today coming from these meetings. So just to explain what those initials mean: NPC, National People's Congress, and CPPCC, Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, those once-yearly meetings just wrapping up in Beijing. So for our number 5 hot comment today, we go to 163.com, and it says, "If that's so, then why not build an airport for every village?" This question is directed towards Li Jiaxiang, the head of China's aviation regulator, the Civil Aviation Administration of China, or CAAC. Now, during those ongoing political meetings, Li was asked about so-called airport construction fever, a phrase that's popped up frequently in the media here in China in recent years. And this refers to the tendency to build small regional airports, particularly local governments building them, even though they operate at huge losses. However, Li said that building these airports actually brings substantial economic benefits to the local area. And he quoted figures which showed that indeed, amongst the 180 plus airports right across the country, over 150 showed deficits, with total losses amounting to more than $320 million. But Li added, importantly, that the 150 airports now cover over 90% of the whole country and have brought economic benefits of over $320 billion to these same areas. Li said it was this fact which explained why so many local governments are willing to spend so much on constructing loss-making airports. Our poster from Zhejiang isn't too convinced by Li's 1,000-fold benefit reasoning. At number 4, on QQ.com. "I remember sleeper coaches were banned some time ago, so why are they still running on the roads?" Well, sleeper coaches here refers to special long-distance overnight buses fitted out with bunk beds instead of seats. And this comment comes on the heels of a recent accident in Hubei province, where a double-decker sleeper coach fell 65 feet from a bridge over the Yangtze River after a tyre blew out. 14 of the 23 people on board died and 9 were injured. Local media reported that they were mainly young migrant workers. Investigations are still underway, but at least in this case it seems overloading doesn't appear to have played a part. The bus had a capacity for 38 passengers. These cheap alternatives to rail travel have been criticised as inherently dangerous, as they are slow to evacuate in an emergency. Last year, data from China's Ministry of Public Security showed that in 2011, sleeper coaches accounted for just 1% of all long-distance buses in China, but contributed to 10% of all passenger bus deaths. In fact, since 2012, March the 1st, Chinese authorities have banned the production and the sale of sleeper coaches, but those already running are grandfathered in, and based on their retirement ages, they won't all disappear until 2017. At number 3, moving to Sina.com. Whatever they say, the unpalatable fact is that our environment has been polluted. So shouldn't the environmental protection bodies also bear some of the blame? A poster called Bitter Ender responding to recent remarks from Miu Shuigang, the head of Anhui Environmental Protection Department. Now, speaking in Beijing during the ongoing 2 sessions, Miu referred to the heavy smog that's affected many Chinese cities, particularly in the north of the country in recent months. Miu suggested the main cause was industrial production and the rising consumption of a rapidly urbanizing society. He argued that everyone has a right to breathe clean air and said that the solution to this was direct punishment for the polluters. However, Miu also slammed foreign media for hypocrisy, for consistently, he said, criticizing pollution in China. He said that on the one hand, these foreigners, presumably those from developed countries, enjoy clean products and clean environments, but do so by moving dirty and environmentally unfriendly polluting industries and factories to China. Whoever's to blame, directly or indirectly, our poster feels those tasked with protecting the environment share some responsibility too. Moving on to number 2, this is from 163.com. Excuse me, was it ever banned? Well, this confused-sounding poster responding to a recent Jinhua Times newspaper report. Now, this says that China's National Development and Reform Commission, the NDRC, recently removed disposable styrofoam tableware from its list of banned products for sale. Although you'd never guess it, to visit a small restaurant in any Chinese city, apparently the government did ban the use of styrofoam 14 years ago because it was a main source of so-called white pollution. Now, the newspaper says the NDRC didn't make clear why it had changed its mind on this issue, but it also quoted recent data from the International Food Packaging Association, which says that every day about 2 million disposable food containers are used in Beijing, and 20%, or around 400,000 of these, are made from that banned styrofoam, leading our poster to question presumably when is a ban not a ban. And finally, our most popular comment of the day today comes from Sina.com, and it says, "English is important, but not important enough that everyone needs to learn it." Lots of students spend 30 to 50% of their time studying English, but seldom use it after they graduate. A poster called Jing Longfang expressing his or her agreement with remarks from Zhang Shuhua, a scholar at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences and also a member of that advisory body, the CPPCC. Speaking at the recent plenary session of the think tank, Zhang criticised what he said was an overemphasis on English learning in China's education system. Now, he said that it was understandable to encourage students to study English, but the problem is English is now considered as the most important class of all, even right down to kindergarten level. And the fact is, he said, that in China, no matter which grade a student is in and no matter what major they're studying in college, English is a required compulsory course. Zhang also pointed out that for the majority of students, more than 10 years is spent studying English simply to pass a compulsory exam, but most never use English after graduation. What's worse, he said, were the poor results of all this wasted effort. Many students can't even speak the language since they have to focus on passing written exams. Zhang slammed the situation as a waste of educational resources and a destructive blow to Chinese education. Our poster and over 40,000 followers on Sina.com couldn't agree more. Well, that is the story behind our top comment of the day here on China Take. Coming up next, Chinese buyers' growing impact on the overseas property market.